It's the people you thought you knew like you've never seen them before. The public legend.
Arnold has 100% commitment in the belief in himself, and it's thrilling to be around him.
The private person.
He's a good dad. He's always with the kids, you know. He's, very protective.
The elusive reality.
Everybody loves him so much. That's probably why he does it. He makes people happy.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, next on Biography. He's one of the most famous faces on Earth, a superstar actor larger than life, known to millions by his first name alone, Arnold.
He's one of the most iconic characters, both on screen and off screen, in the history of movies.
And the great thing about him is that he's full of himself, and I mean that in the best sense of the word. But he's also humble.
He's terrific. He really can do it all.
Growing up in a small Austrian village, bodybuilding was Arnold Schwarzenegger's ticket to a better life and his dreams to America and the movies.
The goal was to get in the movies, to come to America, which was always for me the place to go. But the first thing was first. It was become the champion in bodybuilding.
But you wouldn't like it down there.
Let me be the judge of that. I am tired of the same old faces.
But Hollywood hated his name, his accent, and his oversized body. That didn't bother Arnold. He was determined to become a superstar.
It was like precognition. It was like being clairvoyant, because he is a superstar, you know?
His movies have earned over $2 billion. He's in a rarefied air in Hollywood, the ultimate action hero who has a gift for comedy.
Arnold's comic ability, it doesn't come from being funny. It comes from being straight. It comes from being Arnold.
His family, wife Maria Shriver and 4 children, and his need to give back keep his feet on the ground.
I think the only thing that's bigger than Arnold's arms is the size of his heart.
Arnold Alois Schwarzenegger was born in the early hours of July 30th, 1947, in the tiny village of Thal, Austria. His father, Gustav, was the local police chief. His mother, Aurelia, a devoted homemaker. Home was a rent-free 2-story house reserved by the state for police chiefs. Gustav Schwarzenegger was demanding and strict, and Arnold and his older brother Meinhard grew up knowing the meaning of hard work and self-discipline.
Well, he doesn't talk too much about it, but he told me personally that his father was rough, didn't treat him so good.
Gustav Schwarzenegger was an amateur ice curling champion. He encouraged his sons to compete in boxing, skiing, and soccer. At age 10, Arnold joined a soccer league and learned the value of regimented training.
I think there's no other place or no other activity that you can participate in that gives you more discipline than sports. Because in sports you learn about discipline, you learn about camaraderie, and you get the message that the harder you work, the more you can achieve.
Arnold was an enthusiastic student, but he also loved the escape offered at the local movie house. American film heroes like John Wayne and Kirk Douglas and newsreels of American life captivated him. He began to dream of a future far away from his Austrian home.
And I fantasized about coming to America. But the question really was, how do you come to America as an Austrian farm boy? I grew up in very poor circumstances, so there was no way that an Austrian could ever go to Hollywood and become really big.
Arnold's life changed the summer he turned 15 after a visit to a local gym in Graz. Arnold later wrote, "The weightlifters shone with sweat. They were powerful looking, Herculean, and there it was before me, my life, the answer I'd been seeking."
I remember that my first workout was so long that next day everything was aching, everything was sore. And I was so excited that what I trained worked because I could really feel my whole body.
Arnold became obsessed with bodybuilding. He soon realized it might be more than a way out of his small town. It might, in some crazy dream, be his ticket to the movies.
And one day, I saw a movie, a Hercules movie, and there was Reg Park, who won Mr. Universe 3 times. And I found out that, you know, muscles and Mr. Universe title got him into movies and got him to star in this extraordinary Hercules movies.
Look out, Theseus!
Thank you, Hercules. You came just in time.
So, of course, that was, from that point on, my goal. Say, I have to become a world champion in bodybuilding. That's how I get into movies.
The 6-foot, 150-pound 15-year-old rapidly began to transform his body.
Boom, boom, boom. I was like exploding, kind of. It was going from 150 pounds to 250 pounds within 4 or 5 years. So, of course, some of them said, man, you're taking this too far. I'm really worried about it. This couldn't be healthy. And others were really admiring it.
As he began to win junior bodybuilding contests, his self-esteem grew as well.
Here's a young guy, 17, 18, 19, winning titles, people applauding him. So that made him feel that he was special. And that's what gave him all the confidence to go ahead in life.
After a compulsory 1-year stint in the Austrian army, Arnold moved to Munich in 1966. In short order, he won the Best Built Man in Europe and Mr. Europe. He met and trained with his idol, Reg Park, and learned Park's training regimen. Then, in the 1967 Mr. Universe contest, the self-proclaimed Austrian Oak blew everybody off the stage. At just 20 years of age, Arnold Schwarzenegger became the youngest Mr. Universe in history. Joe Weider, who was building a fortune with men's muscle magazines and health products, sent Arnold a telegram inviting him to compete in the American version of the Mr. Universe competition in Miami. Weider also sent him airfare, Arnold's literal ticket to America.
I remember I came over here with no money, with just a gym bag. And I was received with open arms. I saw for the first time the generosity of the American people.
In Miami, Arnold was in for a shock. He was the biggest, but not the best.
He was a well-built guy, but I knew he wouldn't win because he was too bulky. In Europe, they train for size instead of for definition and proportion and beauty.
After Arnold lost the competition, he vowed it would never happen again. He accepted Joe Weider's offer to help him move to Venice, California, take a small salary from his magazine to write a fitness column, and train at the epicenter of American bodybuilding, Gold's Gym.
I met Arnold at the old Gold's Gym. I knew right away this guy's going to the top because he had a focus. You know usually when somebody's going to the top.
At Gold's Gym, Arnold's intensity became legendary. He invented new exercises to develop and define individual muscle groups. He worked out with good friend and roommate Franco Columbu, a powerlifter he met in Germany. He studied ballet to hone a posing performance that was second to none.
That's the idea.
He knew all the great poses, you know, he knew how to smile, and he built his body into, you know, a great muscular symmetry that was just perfected by hours upon hours of work.
Arnold was loving all America had to offer. His outrageous physique drew lots of attention, and he dated frequently. He enrolled in college business courses and used his growing fame to launch a fitness-oriented mail-order business.
The key thing for me was to educate myself and to understand and learn everything about America and how America operates, the whole economic system, the way that democracy works over here, all of those things I wanted to learn.
In 1969, just after Arnold turned 22 years old, Joe Weider was asked to recommend a bodybuilder who could act for an upcoming movie called Hercules in New York. Weider told the producer about his protege, Schwarzenegger.
He asked me, well, could he act? I said, are you kidding? The guy was a Shakespearean actor in Vienna. And he believed me. And that's how he got the role.
Zeus has only to speak now for Hercules to obey.
But before its release, the producers decided Arnold's thick accent and thicker last name had to go. Arnold made his film debut with a dubbed voice, billed as Arnold Strong.
It doesn't even look like me. Look.
What are you doing? Oh, wow.
The hard part for any actor, anybody performing on film, is to learn how to use their gifts properly in the film performance. The thing is that Arnold Schwarzenegger started as an athlete, not as an actor. He never trained himself as an actor. And I think that first movie, Hercules in New York, you know, he was coming at it as an athlete.
This dubious beginning was not the calling card Arnold had hoped for.
When I ask agents or producers or studio executives if I could go and try out for a movie, they all laughed because they said, hey, you're 10 years too late. The 60s are gone. He says, this is the 70s now. And now the stars are Dustin Hoffman, Warren Beatty. He says, this guy's a skinny guy. Still not Mr. Universes. You know, now it's like the anti-hero kind of a look. Forget it. Why don't you go back in the health food business and maybe run a gymnasium or something like that?
It would be 7 long years before his next big acting break. And when it came, Arnold would be ready. By the early 1970s, with a Hollywood career looking like a long shot, Austrian transplant Arnold Schwarzenegger maintained his focus on bodybuilding. He soon began to dominate his sport. But his success was tempered by the loss of his brother Meinhard from a fatal car accident in 1971, and his father Gustav from a stroke a year later. Arnold's single-mindedness often destroyed his competition, even before their pose-offs. The documentary film Pumping Iron captured Arnold psyching out competitor Lou Ferrigno before the 1975 Mr. Olympia contest in South Africa.
If you retire this year,